You've been wondering why you're here, who I am, why I'm doing this to you. So guess. If you guess right, I'll tell you. By the old gods and the new, I swear. You win the game. If you can figure out who I am and why I'm torturing you, and I win the game if you beg me to cut off your finger. You think I'm some sort of a savage? If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention. I win.
Welcome to this podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Same Shit, Different Day, the podcast.
Same shit, different day. What's going on, bro?
It's good, bro. Episode 31.
How are we this week, man?
Not bad, man. Not
Good.
bad. I gotta say, in between two fight nights and a few boxing topics, I feel like it's a pretty busy week of a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss, especially when there's no UFC pay-per-view or anything like that. But
You would assume it's a pay-per-view going on. Fucking start time's at 10 o'clock. Thanks, Dana.
before we even get there, I wanted to make a quick mention because we didn't even talk about it last week or bring it up. But
Are we casuals for that?
I mean, it's not that. Like, honestly, I really, truly intended to bring it up when Pacquiao was fighting Errol Spence Jr.
Exactly.
because to me, it was a very important fight for the division and for the sport.
Very true.
And there's no shade to Ugas, but he was a fill-in. I mean, he was on the undercard. He was supposed to fight somebody else earlier in the night. And I just, truthfully, I guess on some casual shit, didn't look at it like it was a real, still as big of a fight as it would have been with Errol Spence.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I definitely did not foresee the results turning out that way. I mean, this guy, Yordenis Ugas, put a beating on Manny Pacquiao.
I wish I would have paid more attention to the lead up to this, man, because when I got the alert, I was just like, holy shit, that's not good for him.
No, definitely not. And the way he looked in just the back interview after the fight and shit. Whew, I mean, my man was bruised up, lumped
up. Yeah, lumped up.
Honestly, I think it's a missed opportunity for Errol Spence Jr. That's who I kind of feel the worst for.
Words right out of my mouth, bro.
I mean, shout out to Manny Pacquiao, great career. You know, we could discuss maybe where he goes from here. There have been a few implications, but Errol Spence Jr., man, I mean, styles make fights. Every fight is different. Who knows? But just seeing how slow and off Pacquiao looked,
Yep,
it was set up on a platter for Spence to get a big head on the mantle.
I agree.
What a shame.
Definitely a missed opportunity. I think he would have put in work in there, but hey,
yeah,
that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And now Manny Pacquiao looks like, I mean, I don't know. I would say that don't jump to conclusions when somebody says something right after a real bad loss like that.
Right.
But I mean, come on. He's, long career. He's older. I mean, him and Floyd came up together basically, and Floyd's been gone for a couple of years.
They've made different money, but I think he's smart enough to know it might be time to hang him up.
Yeah, and I mean, he has a lot of other ventures. He's all into the politics in his home country,
big time
in the Philippines. Why not just focus on that? I don't know. I hope he kind of does. I'm not trying to tell the man what to do with his life, but I'd like to see him hang it up at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly,
legendary career. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, I'm a little surprised with the way things have gone, and I don't even want to get into it anymore right now. But I'm surprised Connor didn't throw a shot at him on Twitter, if I could say that.
Please don't start with him again.
But I'm just saying, he's fighting with everybody under the sun on Twitter. And right after, he lost to Dustin in the third one, they asked Pacquiao if there was a potential to still fight Conor, and Pacquiao said, "Nah, we just want to fight the best fighters in the world."
Right.
So it was teed up. I was waiting to see what Conor's response was going to be because Pacquiao took a beating, but I think even that was, I guess he let him slide on that one. He don't let nobody slide on anything nowadays, but that's another story for another day. Yeah, I think Pacquiao's done.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't think he wants to. I definitely don't think he wants to, but I think he's smart enough to make the right decision, man. It's a dangerous game.
Whew, dangerous. And what a segue it is. As we recap the fight night, Cannonier versus Gastelum card.
Oh, man. I tell you something. Some of these prelims fights set it off.
Ooh, it's a dangerous game. You know what's more dangerous? MMA. Shit. Oh, my God. I mean, thankfully, you know, these guys, it seems to when the lights go out a little quicker, they don't get as much punch drunk as the boxers do in their older age. But it's also a younger sport. Let's see where it goes.
Right.
But before we get to our picks, we wanted to shout out 3 fighters on the prelims. Ignacio Bahamondes.
Right elbow off of the clinch. He sees Robert circling to his right side, switches his stance. Right on the chin. End of the fight.
Josain Nunes.
That'll do it!
And William Knight.
Moving back.
It's irresponsible, man.
3 devastating knockouts.
100%.
The wheel kick. Oh, shit.
My man had Roberts looking like fucking Miss Pac-Man the next morning on the ESPN app, bro.
Yikes!
Oh, oof, yeah,
That
it was
a horrible picture.
Oof, it was the equivalent of, I guess, getting dunked on in the NBA. It was posterized.
Yes.
You know, he was posterized.
Very true. That set it off. Then you had
Yeah.
your boy Knight come through in the next fight and sleep, my man.
Very similar almost to the Stipe Miocic stepping back and KOing Alistair Overeem while he was pressing him with that, just like that quick.
It was clear he caught him, no? Like in this one, it didn't look like he caught him like with anything. It looked like he tapped him to push him back, but it was no tap.
Oh no, live, but I get what you're saying. Live in the camera angle that it was, because it was behind Sharant, the camera. So when Sharant's charging forward, Knight throws the counter left hook and you almost can't see it as much, and Sharant just goes down and face plants.
Slapped him.
And then you go back and see the fucking replay and it's like, oh shit. Because as soon as he cracked him, body switch went off. That was it. And then Nunes.
Oh, finish it up. What a debut.
So this Bea Malecki girl was 2-0 going into this. And I didn't even realize that, honestly, until I looked into all this.
Okay.
I wanted to mention it because it was so glaring to me that this wasn't like the wheel kick. It wasn't even as sneaky as the counter left hook. This was kind of like it was almost like an Instagram video of 2 chicks fighting in the street where one of them doesn't seem to really want to.
Yikes!
She threw an overhand right and just hit her so hard. Chick fell to the ground, covered her face up with her hands and said, I think it may be time for a new career.
She hit the Kevin Hart. No.
Yeah, bro. Damn, but they all deserved a little shout out there because like we've said before, man, sometimes these cards that lack the name and star power that you're expecting. What I love about MMA as opposed to boxing is any fight and all fights could result in something like one of these 3 fights.
Very true.
So you could watch all night. That's why when we go to these cards in person, we stay there for 9 hours through the whole card, because it's just different. It's still 2 people, 2 athletes getting in there, and you could see something crazy at any moment. So as we do get back to our picks, the narrative continues, my man. I will show up next week with an updated standings, but the narrative continues. Your boy had another good week. Another strong week.
I give you that. You did.
We start out with Marco Madsen getting a decision over Clay Guida. Now, this is a fight we both had.
Yeah, we both had him. Yep.
Side note, also the only one you had right. No, I'm my bad. You had the main event as well.
Yeah,
You had the main event. 2-2.
Two sleeper dud fights.
The main event wasn't a dud, but we'll get
after those prelims, come on.
Yeah, I guess so. But that's the nature of the business, right? That's what's ironic about it. It's kind of funny. My only thing I want to say is, I'm just going to be honest with you here. Complete bias aside, we both had Marco Madsen. You were rolling out the red carpet into the Maloik's retirement home for Clay Guida.
I stand corrected.
I'll just say, to my eye, when I watched it and the last round ended, I said Clay Guida won that fight.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I was a little thrown off by the fact that every time they showed the stats of it, Madsen seemed to be up 20 strikes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Because to me, it seemed like Madsen landed a couple more of the heavier strikes, but Guida was putting it on him more, his typical Tasmanian devil style.
Like an animal, bro.
Like an animal, a nonstop coming at you. And I felt like 29-28, close, split decision win for Clay Guida. And we both had Madsen.
Could have went either way. I disagree. I think Madsen won the fight. Off the naked eye, I think he won that fight. See, what gets me is when you see those statistics though through the rounds, the judges don't. Yeah,
judges don't get those stats, so they just watch. And I don't know, to me, watching without hearing those stats, just watching, I felt like very, very close fight. Definitely could go either way. I just felt Clay Guida won that. Either way, we get that one right, but I don't know. I guess it can't be like a robbery when it's that close of a fight. I feel like a robbery has to be somebody who clearly dominated and didn't get the decision. This is just like a razor thin close decision, but I don't know. I might have seen it going the other way. As we continue on, Brian Kelleher improves to 23-12 after a unanimous decision victory over Domingo Pollarite.
This one was clear as day.
No question in this one.
No, not at all. Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more, maybe maybe not knockdown. So whatever, man. Like I said, I guess I was expecting a little bit too much from those earlier fights. He handled business in there. He did his thing.
No, definitely. And I think Kelleher's just too much of a vet. Too much of a vet for Pollarite at this point. And I told you I didn't like his history leading up to the fight recently. Getting KO'd in a fight that got changed to a no contest, but he was still it kind of just flies under the radar. It looks like he didn't take that loss, but he was KO'd stiff.
Yeah.
And the guy tested positive for weed.
Right.
So, all right, that means nothing to me. Like I didn't like that. And Pollarite now drops to 8-3. He's a young kid, so I'm not trying to I don't know how young he is, but he's young in the career, at least only 11 fights. I'm not trying to completely write him off, but I just think going into it, I thought Kelleher's experience would prevail.
It did.
Seemed to go that way.
Very true.
Alexandre Pantoja.
This is fucked up, man. This is a fucked up fight. Man,
why?
Brandon, I'm hopping off. I'm grabbing my bags. I'm off the train.
Why is it with the hopping off?
Something. I don't know what it is. My man was on a fucking ascent. He hit Brandon Moreno, and then he comes back on this comeback fight right here, and you kind of look a little bit like shit. Either that, or maybe I've got to stop disrespecting the fucking mustache.
Yep, I think so. Speaking of Brandon Moreno, he's 2-0 against Brandon Moreno.
Yeah.
See, through Brandon Moreno's course, he lost on the Ultimate Fighter. He lost when he first came in. They cut him.
Right.
He comes back. He gets to the title fight. Pantoja is 2-0 against him. Coming off a sub on Brandon Royval like that, which I called exactly to a T. I think he's next for the belt. Obviously, I think Davison Figueiredo has an argument to do the trilogy. That's what he's pushing for.
Oh, 100% he is.
Brandon Moreno's pulling that funny style kind of. You gave me a rematch after. Because that first fight, yeah, it was a draw. But if we remember, Figueiredo gets a point taken because I think Figueiredo clearly won the fight 3-2. But he gets a point taken to get it back to a draw.
Yeah.
But then Moreno comes back and finishes him to take the belt. So fine.
Definitive.
But I could see them trying to go towards the trilogy for that.
Right.
But Pantoja's got 2-0. 2-0 against your champ. You got to give him a shot. I don't even know necessarily it's going to be the same fight because I think Moreno has advanced quite well. But I think Pantoja is legit too.
He's shown it. I said before, not really so much of a big name resume, but he came out, did work this weekend. So
yeah, well, add Brandon Royval to that resume, and it's starting to look a little bit better.
Very true, man. Choked them out. What are you gonna do?
I think we may see that Moreno fight next, but let's see what happens. TBD on Davison Figueiredo and how he plays into that as well. Main event. Jared Cannonier gets back into the win column, something he needed desperately. Good call by you on this one. Kelvin Gastelum.
This was the sleeper for me, man. You don't have to run shotgun on this one, bro.
Kelvin Gastelum.
Explain it.
All being told at the end of the day, he cut the quarter of a pound or whatever it was and ends up making weight.
In time.
Mind you, also 186, which is because when you're not in a title fight, you're given a 1 pound allowance.
Gotcha.
But I just always kind of felt like just to show maybe an ounce of discipline,
right,
for a guy that should be fighting at 170, which we've documented many times for sure, which is 15 pounds below where he's fighting right now.
Yep.
And a guy who's, like I said, has a laundry list of contenders he's fought his whole career, but he's lost to half of them, if not more.
Yeah.
So eventually that and 250 gets you on the bus. You know what I'm saying? And you would think just to show a little discipline, to show your focus, even though it's not required, 186 is the fucking requirement.
Right.
Could we get to champ weight 185? Could we pound our chest on the scale and say unnecessarily not needed champ weight? Because I'm coming for that belt. Jared Cannonier weighed in at 184. My man started his career at 250 in the heavyweight division.
Tells you everything you need to know, man.
Kelvin Gastelum is fucking 5'9". He's Conor McGregor's height. Conor McGregor used to cut to 145. Could we have maybe 2 or 3 less White Castle Crave cases in training camp and just fucking get to the 185 pounds? And you know what? It's time to fucking put the feet to the fire with Kelvin Gastelum. Enough is enough. I have seen and I have sat here for fucking 30 weeks trying to preach your fucking talent. This guy had you on the fucking chopping block against Ian Heinisch a couple fights ago.
That was me.
And I was trying to defend you. You look good that night, and you're right back to the same shit. You just come on, the same. Listen, this I gave the best fight, Adesanya, and you said it was boring. I think it was a pretty good main event fight.
Yeah,
I think Jared Cannonier landed some bombs, and Kelvin Gastelum is scrappy as fucking did what he always does.
The typical shit. Yeah, everything the whole way around, bro.
It's just. Really, it's I don't know. Maybe I hate to say it because it was Gastelum stepping up again on short notice, and I think his management team is smart for that because it's starting to look bad now, and he could potentially be cut. But a lot of the times the UFC will give you a break when you're doing them a favor by stepping in because Paulo Costa can't get off his juice cycle quick enough to fight Cannonier. Right? So I don't know, man. I don't know. I've watched Kelvin Gastelum since the fucking Ultimate Fighter, and it's just a clear lack of discipline.
It's true. No other way to put it.
You can't move up from 170 to 185 and miss weight multiple times.
It's your job, man.
Come on, man. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, I don't understand. And you know what? He fights like a typical Mexican warrior from a long history of boxing, really. I mean, and and Brandon Moreno, a couple guys, the Diaz brothers, it's a long history in boxing, that Mexican warrior style. You can drop this guy, hit him with fucking bombs, and he gets back up.
Right.
But that's only going to get you so far when you keep ended up losing.
True.
And my opinion was, if you could KO Michael Bisping on a fucking 1-2 check hook, if you could fucking pull off some of these victories that you did against an Ian Heinisch, who couldn't get to 170 if you cut one of his fucking legs off. If you just cut down to 170, you'll be dominant. I'm not saying you're going to beat Kamaru Usman, but really, truly, outside of Usman, Colby Covington, I can't see nobody else who at 170 could really beat Kelvin Gastelum if he's on his game. The guy who fought Israel Adesanya that night, I remember Izzy's another one who ends up even looking a little small, moving up to 205.
Yeah.
And he fought Izzy to the best fight we've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah, I honestly think he would put the beats on Jorge Masvidal, Leon Edwards, Wonderboy Thompson, Gilbert Burns. Give me a name there that you think one of those guys are beating Kelvin Gastelum if he's on top of his game. But the guy can't cut off the fucking White Castle burgers. He can't.
I don't think I have to answer that, because that's the thing. I don't think you'll ever see him at the top of his game. There's no discipline there, bro.
Jared Cannonier, though, don't want to overshadow your accomplishment. Israel Adesanya has been teeing it up for you.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys here because Izzy's run through the division. Cannonier, Darren Till. Izzy has been begging y'all to just win a fight. If they stop matching y'all up with Robert Whitaker, maybe that could happen. Cannonier did what he had to do, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think if he needs to just, who knows? Because we have to see it's all this COVID shit going on again and the travel restrictions from New Zealand. So we don't know what's going on with Izzy and Whitaker. They got to get that one out. So, Cannonier said he'd be open to fighting the winner of Darren Till versus Marvin Vettori. No, who is it? Darren Till.
It's not Till and Vettori.
No, Vittori's fighting Costa.
Yeah, it's Till and Brunson.
Yeah,
man.
Yo, Brunson's been on a streak too, though. It's time to start giving him some respect. And if he knocks off Till, shit. And if timing works out and the winner of that fights Cannonier, that'd be perfect. If not, let's see what happens, because Cannonier's right there to fight Izzy now. And he's older, so he needs to, play it wisely. You lose one more, it's probably over.
True.
But a nice win. He did everything he needed to do. He hit Gastelum with some fucking bombs.
Put in work.
What are you going to do? Jared Cannonier, shout out to you, bro. All right, that wraps up last week's fight night. And we have another one on the way.
Back to back.
Headlined by Edson Barboza and Giga Chikadze. We're going to pick 4 fights here. This is the TUF 29 finale.
Yes.
So we're gonna pick the 2 TUF finale fights. We're gonna take the main event, and we're gonna talk about your best friend Kevin Lee.
Who the fuck is that guy?
My best friend and your best friend.
Let's start there. Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lee, yo, all over the place. COVID hasn't helped.
I think Kevin Lee's brain's deteriorating.
No, stop it, man.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think maybe Charles Oliveira choked him a little too hard that last time.
Why do you say that?
Because my man is over here. Okay, let's give a rundown. My man was on a 5-fight win streak of fairly decent B-level names.
Yeah.
He makes it to an interim title fight against Tony Ferguson. Now, this is a guy who's been telling you for fucking 10 years that he's the one with the wrestling pedigree to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov and fight off the dominant game. He could do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My man gets mounted by Tony fucking Ferguson. Okay. Mounted and fucking triangle choked. Finished in the 3rd round after having mount himself in the 1st round. Comes back, gets a win over Edson Barboza on a doctor stoppage from a cut. Yeah, whatever. Loses, gets his ass beat, pillar to post by fucking Al Yaquinta. Okay. Real estate Al. Comes out next, gets arm triangled by Rafael Dos Anjos. All due respect to the former champion. Khabib Nurmagomedov tossed Rafael dos Anjos around like that was his little brother. Okay? You got the wrestling pedigree to beat him. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Then lands a beautiful head kick, comes back, knocks Gregor Gillespie into next week. Fine. Good for you, Kevin Lee. Let's mount off of that. Let's get back. Guillotine choked by Charles Oliveira. Now we haven't seen him. So
It's not his fault.
what we're saying is he's lost 3 out of his last 4.
True.
He's lost 4 out of his last 6.
Okay.
My man's doing interviews into the lead up to this fight this week. And he is out here saying, what would get you to go back to 155? I would go back to 155 to fight Charles Oliveira for the belt, or if Khabib came back and wanted to fight. Yo,
I don't pay attention to anything that these guys say. They've got to put their names out there into contention for these big money fights, bro.
my man, let me channel my inner Stephen A. Smith. Stay off the weed. Are you out of your fucking mind? What are you talking about? Your last fight back in March 2020 was getting choked silly by Charles Oliveira. Right. Why would your next fight be to go back and rematch him? And why, of all the people, Khabib could come back and fight Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, Conor McGregor. He gonna come back and fight Kevin Lee.
Who the fuck is that guy?
My man, get over yourself. Nobody's gonna care. My underdog of the week is Daniel Rodriguez by vicious KO. Stiff.
That'd be some shit to see, man. I'm gonna go opposite, bro, just because I feel like this is his first fight back. He's gotta put a stamp on this shit, man. And I think styles make fights, bro. And Daniel Rodriguez is gonna sit there and stand the trade with him, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be some shit to see him knock him out. I've got Kevin Lee by decision, though.
But see, then in my opinion, if that's the way you go, it can't be a stand-in trade. And see, that's what I think is kind of funny, because Kevin Lee has been telling you for so many years, he's the best wrestler in his division. He has the recipe to beat Khabib. No one could stop his wrestling. His one win in fucking years is a head kick on Gregor Gillespie. Tony Ferguson mounted him. What are we talking about here? So now, if Kevin Lee were to implement the wrestling game, that's if I had to do an unbiased opinion, which I cannot do with Kevin Lee. But if I had to give you an unbiased opinion, he needs to wrestle fuck him for 3 rounds, because Daniel Rodriguez is going to punch him through the fucking side of his head.
Fuck.
And if Kevin Lee were to wrestle him, maybe. But I know this dumb motherfucker. He don't believe himself about how great his wrestling is, because he tries to strike. He thinks he's fancy with the feet, on the feet, and he's not. And he goes stiff, seething, neck muscles. You're going to see neck veins fucking popping while they're fucking cracking smelling salts in his fucking nose. Daniel Rodriguez, vicious KO. Not even just win. The win's like plus 125, plus 130. What is it by KO? Because that's what I want. I want him by, I won't even accept the point if he wins not by KO. Stiff. So we got 2 Ultimate Fighter TUF 29 finale fights. Bantamweight and middleweight. We kick it off with Ricky Tercrucios and Brady Highstand.
Hold on. Let's get it straight. Ricky Hadouken.
Hadouken.
All right. Let's put some respect on my man. Before I get started on it, though, I'm going to say this. It's fucking impressive that all 4 of these guys made it here. Maybe,
well,
maybe
3 out of 4.
Yeah,
3 out of 4.
Maybe not so much of it, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
With that said, can we really give such a fucking breakdown on this shit? I don't know. I don't know if I could give you a big old breakdown.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I wasn't keeping up on TUF on a week-to-week basis. I did watch some of it going into this.
Yeah.
But I also would say that what also plays into what you're saying there is the environment that TUF is basically run on, where you're staying in this house, you're away from everybody in your life and your family. You have to keep maintaining and cutting weight and fighting multiple times in a couple weeks span.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think he can give you a big breakdown. But I think there's a couple points to mention. Tercios went and had one of the craziest scraps in Ultimate Fighter history in the lead up to this.
Yeah.
And, you know, Brady Highstand has kind of been underrated throughout the season and surprising. But from what I saw in their semifinal matchups, I think all the excitement and the hype is on Tercios.
Yeah.
Because of the scrap he just had.
Right.
And I know it's been a while now because they record all that, they edit all that, they put it out, they wait. Now we get to the finale.
True.
But I saw him even do a recent interview, and my man still has scar tissue on his face from that scrap.
Really?
And what I saw in Brady Highstand's semifinal fight was a complete domination of grappling. He took the guy down, he ground and pounded him, he dominated him, and closed him out inside one round. I think that's exactly what we're going to see again. I'm going Brady Highstand on this. I think he's going to control with the grappling. I think you'll have some moments where Tercios will want to exchange in the pocket, and I don't think that's what this kid's game is. I mean, he's only 5-1. He's very young in this game. We'll see where he gets to, but from what I saw in the little bit of research from The Ultimate Fighter, he seems like grappling is his thing, and if he sees that as his advantage, he'll take it.
Yeah.
I think I got to go with Brady Highstand here.
I love how you come through with all the points and the accurate facts, man, because over on this side, I'm telling you go with Hadouken because I like his fucking name. Hadouken for the win. Decision.
I thought about taking Highstand with as my underdog of the week, but as you said, like I may say a few things here and did some analysis on it, but I don't know. I don't feel strongly enough about it. Yeah, I feel strongly enough that Kevin Lee's going to sleep, so I'll keep it there.
We're gonna keep going.
I'll keep it there, but I'll go with Brady Highstand. I think by second round submission. Put some beating on him. I think Tercios will get back to his feet a couple times. He'll get put back on his back. And I don't know. I see some sort of Kimura or something. Co-main event of the night is the 185 finale for TUF 29. Unfortunately, a little disappointing. We're not getting to see the actual event, the actual fight we should have saw. Tresean Gore is forced out of the fight with an injury. I believe
break.
Yeah, I think he hurt his knee or something.
Yeah.
What a shame, because that kid looks fucking dangerous right there. And I believe Dana said he's going to get a shot in the UFC anyway.
You already knew that was coming.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have to say from the beginning of this shit, the whole thing has been like you get this contract if you win it. And there's different percentages probably throughout the years, and there's been 29 seasons. But like, I feel like 80% of the fighters on these shows end up fighting in the UFC afterwards anyway. Yeah. Maybe they don't get that initial 6-figure contract or whatever and the award, but most of them end up fighting. This is how they funnel into the promotion, and this is how they cut overused, overexpensive, washed up guys. So we got Brian Battle versus Gilbert Urbina. From what I looked at, Urbina, he was definitely on a nice little run there, and there were expectations that he could win his semifinal fight against Tresean Gore. But Gore flattened him. Bad. Like KO'd him. Probably the stamp on the whole season to end this to end the production on the show, to get into the finale. This is why this is just ugly all around. You know, it sucks for Tresean Gore. It sucks for Brian Battle, because now even if he gets this W, which I'm expecting him to do, it looks like, but everyone will always remember it as, and forget about if Tresean Gore becomes a star. We'll always remember that even though Battle won the season, it's because Gore got hurt.
Fuck that. Tell him to go talk to Aljo.
I don't know why we can't just push it back. It's an official UFC fight once we get to this point. Just like any other fight. Why can't we just I don't know, maybe the injury's bad, like it might be a while.
Even if it's not, man, this shit was set for it. This is how it's playing out. They probably got another TUF recording coming out in a couple weeks anyway, man.
But still, that takes a while. It takes some, production, editing, and then to run each week for 12, 13 weeks. We couldn't push this back before that. Like it's just ugly for everybody. Because now also even obviously for the UFC too, because Gilbert Urbina just got KO'd.
What if he gets KO'd again?
I mean, it's been a while, so it's not going to look as bad because I know like the show just ended last week, but that was recorded a while back, so it's been a couple months. But
it doesn't matter. It looks. I just watched that episode last week, so in my head, he got knocked out last week, and he's back now. May not be the case, but
it's not. It's not. Like I'm taking Brian Battle by sub. I think he's a grapple heavy guy too. He works on the ground. He likes to go for submissions.
Yeah.
It would be. I did almost think though for a minute. I was like, yo, wouldn't it kind of be funny if Gilbert Urbina came back after getting KO'd in the semifinal and fucking wins?
Would it be funny? Nah, it'd be really fucked up. I think that's the way it ends up, like a fucked up situation. Now, I don't really feel so bad for, it not being pushed back. It is what it is, bro. Like, sucks that you got the injury, but show's got to go on. But if this guy comes in on this bullshit and then comes out and wins, that's a little nasty.
That is nasty, but I almost like that. I almost feel like that's intriguing enough to have a good reason to do it because
then you just don't like him coming in.
But what do you do here then? Because the guy just lost, and you know what? Like that's what bothers
me.
You need
a body for battle. It's no worries. He's gonna come in and put in work. Battle by decision.
And why does it have to be the guy who just got KO'd in the semifinals? There's not another guy we could bring in. Why don't we have alternates to some? I don't know.
Because he made it to the semis, so like you give him the spot, but it just looks nasty. Him getting knocked out and then coming back. If you get KO'd again, man.
All right. So since we're both taking Brian Battle, and that's the only fight we're both taking the same side, 2-point bet. I got him by sub.
Yeah, I got him by decision.
You got him by decision. However it plays out, that's how we'll decide the 2 points on that one.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Main event of the evening. Main event of the UFC evening, because the true main event of the evening, that's coming up next. Well, the main event of the weekend, the combat sports weekend.
Well, we're all looking forward to.
Let's go over this UFC main event before we get there. Very, very, very intriguing featherweight matchup.
True.
Number 6, Edson Barboza, up against number 12, Giga Chikadze.
Important fight here for the rankings.
Oh, yeah. Chikadze's on an 8-fight win streak. We've talked about him a few times here.
Oh, yeah.
We saw what he's done to a few guys. Fucked up Cub Swanson in his last one. But Edson's a vet. And don't sleep, because since he's gone to 145, the man has looked dangerous.
Looks like a totally different person.
You remember the fucking sudden stun 5 seconds later Shane Burgos KO? Mm-hmm. When my man found out afterwards that he was knocked out?
Yeah.
When Shane Burgos found out that himself had been knocked out 5 to 10 seconds ago back over there. and the soul of death brought him back. He stumbled back to the position where he got cracked. Like, I know Barboza took some tough losses on his way out of lightweight. Lost to Gaethje, lost to Felder, lost to Dan Ige. He's looked good at 145. And there's 2 guys that I have been super focused on paying attention to since this whole leg kick game has decided to make its presence known as one of the top skills in the game. Jose Aldo, Edson Barboza. And both guys were in a weight class above where they're fighting now.
Yeah.
And their leg kicks were so devastating to fighters 15, 20 pounds heavier than they're fighting now that I kept thinking to myself, if Dustin Poirier could kick Conor McGregor's fucking calf off, imagine what Jose Aldo at 135 and Edson Barboza at 145 could do to people, because at the weight class above, they were kicking people's fucking legs off. Well, Jose Aldo just started getting back to it. Edson Barboza was throwing a couple more leg kicks in his last fight again. That's what I'm looking for. And listen, no disrespect to Giga Chikadze, because I'm not even. I think I did take him last time. I hope so, because I don't want to start a trail of this. But I think it's a very close fight. I think the odds makers have it very close as well. It should be fireworks. But I got Edson Barboza, the vet.
There we go. I like it. I like all the analysis. Can Barboza show up, put up 5 solid rounds, come through with the kicks? Absolutely. I think so. Does he? I don't think he has enough time to process it. I think Giga comes in, puts too much pressure on him. He starts to fumble in the cage. I got Giga, knockout, round 4.
Ooh, 4 rounds of them would be nice to see.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I think that's what the UFC, we've discussed this many times. The UFC sets these fights up for a reason. But this is very similar to, let's say, the Derek Brunson situation I was talking about recently, which is you want to keep putting legends up to get their heads put up on a fucking stake with one of these up and coming guys. Okay. What you want here, because we've seen the Edson Barboza story for the most part. Maybe not so much at 145, but we've seen it. Because a good wrestler will stuff that shit right away.
You already know. Right?
So we have to always pump the brakes on that. Giga Chikadze, we haven't seen. He's flashy. He's starting to get some knockouts. He's, a good kickboxer. If that don't work out, like how sometimes it doesn't, it's time to give the legend his respect again. You know what I'm saying? It's time.
He comes in, holds down his number 6 spot right here, bro. I definitely agree.
It's title shot time. We got to, or at least a title eliminator. At least title eliminator.
That one I agree with. Yeah.
Somebody, let's give him Calvin Kattar. See what happens.
This is a big time kid, yo. This kid, Chikadze, is supposed to, he looks real good. He's a huge prospect. Not even a prospect. He's been doing his thing for a minute now. Barboza comes in and does his thing in there. You got to put his name up there, bro. You can't keep giving them these little fights.
You know what? I don't know if Calvin Kattar's booked against anybody. I don't know where he's been at since the Max Holloway loss, but I'd like Calvin Kattar against the winner of this fight to see if Calvin Kattar stays in that top 3 position where he thinks he should be.
Yeah.
Or Barboza, or because if Giga wins this, I think he takes Barboza's number 6. If Barboza wins this, I think he could be considered, but let's say title eliminator against Calvin Kattar. I like that. I like Kattar against either one of these guys. Plus, I know Kattar's a boxer, so I'd like to just see them fucking scrap and see what happens. All right, so that wraps up the MMA coverage for the week. We can't get out of here without discussing the main event of the combat sports weekend.
Yeah, and it kind of feels nasty to say, but I don't give a fuck, yo. I'm ready to see this shit.
Listen, man, my man is top 5 dead or alive combat sports draws. Really, he's main eventing a Showtime pay-per-view. Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley. We gotta pick this one. We
have to. And bro, we spoke about this when it first popped up. I told you the odds makers tell you everything. We know this, yo. Yeah. They opened them up at like minus 150, minus 160. Did you take a look at what it was?
Jake Paul like minus 200, something like that.
Yeah, they know.
Listen, man, when you got a fucking guy who's the facts are, and this is what I said when it originally got announced, the people he's fought so far mean nothing. That is not why I think what's going to happen. It's more so just like if he was just out there throwing, sparring, training, videos like that I've seen. And I think, God damn it, Jake Paul could fight. He could fight. I'm sorry, man. He could fight. I see hundreds of stupid ass Instagram videos from World Star or whoever else of fucking Blueface hitting pads and fucking the next guy hitting pads.
Blueface, baby.
They all look ridiculous. They all look absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if the trainers feel like he's too rich to really tell him that he looks ridiculous in the way he's hitting shit. The shit is ridiculous. But I'm sorry, man. Jake Paul could fight. And I'm not saying he could fight because he beat fucking Addison Gibb or Nate Robinson or Ben Askren. I just see his training and I watch instead of watching necessarily thinking if he beats up Ben Askren, he could box, just watching his form and you know, staying tight and throwing from the hips. And at the end of the day, while this is definitely a step up, like he is progressing, not necessarily through boxers, he's progressing through MMA fighters.
Yeah.
But he's progressing. Tyron Woodley's the best striker he's ever going to fight.
Right.
But when you really break it down as an MMA purist, let's be honest with ourselves here. He's an overhand right. And at the end of the day, Tyron came into the game wrestling. So another thing that always goes into the fight plan when you're in an MMA fight is you have to be concerned with the takedown. It's the way Khabib landed that overhand right on Conor that stumbled him backwards. If they knew they were just going to box, he could have never landed that glove on Conor. Right. But Conor was so focused by then that, he's going to shoot from my legs. I have to be paying attention to that the whole time, that when he hesitates down, Conor goes to getting his shoot from the hips and he instead pops back up and comes with the overhand right.
Yeah.
Eliminate the threat of the takedown, and the overhand right becomes so fucking. The overhand right, the way Tyron Woodley throws it, is useless in boxing. It's a windy overhand fucking punch that any boxer with any sense could see from 8 miles away. Watch most boxing fights. Most boxing fights from any type of professional level. Most of the exchanges you can't even see visibly. Like you could, you see glove land and shit like that, but then they go to a replay in between a round and you see the way the fucking check hook smushes the guy's face and you're like, holy shit, he cracked him on that one. Yeah. I knew he landed, but I didn't know he cracked him on that one.
Yeah.
Right? So think about that. All those punches are in the pocket. They're tight, sticking the jab, throwing the straight. Yeah, people throw overhand rights, but in boxing, it's the Deontay Wilder special where maybe, you could just land that power and on the top of somebody's head and drop him down. But a real boxer is not getting hit with that. He's not getting hit with that. And I'm sorry, but Jake Paul got the money to be training with real boxers.
I mean, I saw, it sounds like you're going like knockout Jake Paul.
In probably second, third round.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah, because you know what I think happens? It's very similar to the Conor McGregor rise. People got so enamored with the talk that they forget the person they're fighting could crack. You're just saying Conor McGregor's talked so much shit to me. This is Dustin Poirier 1. Oh, he's talked so much shit to me. I'm going to fucking kill him. I'm going to fucking kill him when I get in there. And he cracks you one time, and then all of a sudden,
who the fuck is that guy?
It's like, this shit just ain't even worth it no more.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, Tyron Woodley is just looking past this kid because he's like, no way this kid could really fuck me up like that. And I think the first time this kid cracks him, you're going to see a look in Tyron Woodley's face like, oh shit, for real. And I think he'll make it out that round, be a little more protective. But before you know it, yeah, I could even see it ending with Jake Paul putting a barrage on him up against the rope, similar to the way Floyd finished Conor.
That's disrespectful, yo.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna watch the fight to see this, improved fighter of Jake Paul that can actually fight. I'll be looking for that. But I'm going with Tyron Woodley, man. He's gonna hold it down for the MMA community, bro. He's gonna show Ben Askren was a fluke. He ain't taking the money for just to lay down, bro. He's gonna go out there. He's gonna put hands on him. I don't think he's gonna knock him out, but he's gonna stay standing and make it to a decision.
All right, I could see that. I think we've also, I'm just being honest. I think we've seen some quit in Tyron Woodley over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And this is the biggest bag he's ever going to get. I think eventually it'll start to set in. That's already had. The sooner I get out of here, the sooner that fucking wire transfer goes through. Come on, because I've heard him drop a line or two here and there like, nah, Tyron Woodley's in boxing now. No, you're not. Nobody else wants to fight you.
Yeah.
And when you lose to Jake Paul, nobody's gonna want to fight you. But even if you beat Jake Paul, who are you fighting in boxing? Like it's not happening. Because you're gonna have to get a fucking the next guy you're gonna fight, you're gonna have to take a fucking 300% decrease in salary. It's never gonna happen. This is the and I'm telling you, once Jake Paul starts to land a couple shots on this guy, he's gonna wither. You know, we debated early on when this got announced, is this like just some fixed shit? And I want to make something very clear here. I'm actually not saying this is a fixed fight where the fix is in like the way he knocked out Ben Askren, which I'm still kind of actually going back on now and thinking maybe that wasn't even fixed either. Like Ben Askren, like I watched Ben Askren at the face-off, the weigh-ins against Jake Paul, and I mean, he actually looked like a bag of milk.
Yeah.
Like, so more than it being fixed, I think he like literally did not even train for it or take anything seriously. And this kid put the fucking beats on him quick. And he got cracked, couldn't shoot for a takedown, and got his ass out of there.
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley will do something similar. Jake Paul, frankly, is just too big for him. If he could fucking fight, it's over because he outweighs him by like 15 pounds. I'm telling you. Tyron Woodley, another one, 5'8", fought at 170 his whole career. He couldn't have fought at 185. They would have killed him. He's fighting this guy at 190. Jake Paul's cutting to that. He's going to go up a couple pounds on fight day after the weigh-ins. Come on. I'm sorry to say it, man. I'm sorry. You know I'm team MMA all day.
Oh, you already know I'm not leaving.
You got to give this kid some respect, though. He could fight.
We'll see. We'll see if he's not just a YouTuber after this one.
We've seen then already, but we'll see again.
Nah, he had a UFC fighter lay down for him.
Lay down.
That's what we see.
I don't know. Maybe. But we can't say just don't say that again.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If it's in one round and he flatlines him, we can't say that again. Because Tyron Woodley has told you he's dead serious about this. He came out the other day and didn't just say he was representing MMA. He wasn't just representing his culture. He was representing OGs in general. All of us old school heads who came from back in the day. Anybody who's hit the age where they now say back in my day when shit was good. All right, that's who he's representing. So you telling us you not fucking around then.
Yeah.
Because you tell me you from the hood in St. Louis. I'm saying if you just literally, I'm thinking your OG is going to be looking for something if you go lay down and won.
True. So fucking true.
But I tell you, it's a lose-lose proposition because at the end of the day, if you knock this kid out, that's what you were supposed to do. You're a professional MMA fighter who was the welterweight champion of the world. And he's a Disney kid. And now let me just repeat that in a reverse sentence. If he knocks your ass out, he was a Disney kid. And you were the welterweight champion of the world.
Oh, shit.
Lose. Jake Paul, KO inside 3 rounds.
Disrespect. Yeah, I heard it here first.
Till then, my brother. Same shit.
Different day, kid.
Big weekend. Can't wait. 31 in the books. My brother.
You already know, kid. Holla at me later, man.
All right, brother.
Love you, kid.
Love you, bro. Later.
Peace.